And we begin in Lagos, where Good Friday went sour for road users as an early morning multi-vehicle accident caused major traffic congestion along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The crash occurred at Kara Bridge, inward Opik, pushing traffic as far back as the Otedola Bridge area. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority says the incident was reported at 7:40 a.m. via the official handle at Follow Lasma. Lasma official and emergency responders quickly arrived on scene to rescue victims and clear the wreckage.
What may have led to the accidents that happened here on Kara Bridge earlier today, but the reason for the multiple accidents is not really clear. It may be as a result of brake failure. It may be as a result of the driver overspeeding because we couldn't get a hold of the driver. But what we do know at this point in time is that the truck fell off, causing the accident, hitting about 5 cars at the same time, with casualties being recorded. Luckily, no one died from the accidents, as we have been told, but the result of this accident has resulted into a build-up of traffic just right behind me. Like you did rightly say, it's indeed stretched all the way down to Otedola Bridge from Kara Bridge right here. What you have right now on your screen the members of the Lagos State Emergency Services trying to ensure that the fallen truck is taken off the road so that the road can become passable.
And that was News Central's correspondent Israel Ferobo just giving us a bit of insight, a situational report there from his earlier report. But for something to cheer us up, shall we? It's Good Friday today, and Christian faithful at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Koudou, Abuja, have gathered for the Passion Play, a solemn reenactment of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ as part of activities marking this year's Good Friday observance. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, says the police will make good its promise of watertight security measures nationwide ahead of the 2025 Easter celebrations. He has also directed commissioners of police and supervising IAGs to intensify visibility policing, intelligence gathering, and strategic deployment of personnel to churches, recreation centers, highways, and other public spaces. In a statement issued by the Force PRO ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the IGP has extended warm Easter greetings to Christians, urging reflection on the season's values of hope, renewal, and sacrifice. He emphasized the importance of swift response to any threats and called for public cooperation through timely, credible information. Citizens were also urged to remain vigilant, celebrate in moderation, and avoid reckless driving during and beyond the Easter festivities. And out of politics, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, says he wanted the outright removal of Siminalayi Fubara as Governor of Rivers State. Speaking during a media chat in Abuja on Friday, Wike justified the clarification or the declaration of a state of emergency by the President Bola Tinubu in Rivers State, wondering why the suspended governor had not reached out to him within his suspension.
I'm not happy. I wanted outright removal of the governor. As a politician, I'm not happy. But for the interest of the state, the president did the right thing. As a lawyer, no, I'm coming. I don't know the mother is in court. But let the people must say the truth. The governor was gone. He was gone. Yes. He was gone. So when people say President Bush, I don't know. If that's where they should be worshiping, they should be worshiping Mr. President. Every morning go to President, can we wash your feet for saving us? How? Mind you, Supreme Court has said no money can go to local government.
On the ongoing crisis within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Wike openly criticized the Governors Forum, saying they don't possess the power to appoint the party's national chairman as it's an elective position.
The Governors Forum, we have met with the organs of the party. We have met with the National Working Committee. Who are you to say that? A national secretary of the party that was elected, he was not appointed. Yes, it was zoned to a particular area. And he was elected by the delegates at the National Convention. And so if there's anybody that would move the national secretary of the party, it's through the National Convention. As you do not conceding that it is zoned to South-East. South-East can still not bring somebody. They can only say, okay, when we go for National Convention, this is the person we are going to back. It's not my appointment, it's my election.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, I'm going to be joined by a barrister and public affairs analyst to give us a bit of insight following the comments by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. And doing that will be Barrister Evans Ufeli. But first, let's go on that break. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. Following the media chat with the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, making comments about the PDP and its worsening crisis, but most importantly about him saying that he wants an outright removal of the governor of Rivers State, the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. To give us a bit of insight on this, we're joined by Barrister Evans Ufeli. He's a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, and he joins us live from Lagos. Evans, you have seen the media parlay, lots of mentions were made, but the most important to take out is that his successor, or rather his predecessor, I don't know which comes which, the Wike says the governor, he wants an outright removal of the governor. He would have preferred an outright removal of the governor. If Governor Fubara was to be removed outright, by what powers would the president or any other person have done that?
No one have the powers to remove the governor outrightly, except the National Assembly that can do that through impeachment under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In the absence of that, the governor can only be removed by that impeachment, by resignation, by death. Okay, those are the options that are available. Any other option is against the Constitution. And Wike is able to say this because he has allowed himself to be so consumed by hatred and the politics of bitterness. And he's also saying this because enough dust have not been raised so far against this illegal suspension that was handed down by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because there have not been serious opposition and perhaps insurrection or protest, that is why he could say further that he wanted an outright removal of Wike. Under what law? Outright removal of Fubara. Under what law is he speaking? Is it because they have created for themselves an illegality that they are pushing to sustain with further illegality? The administrator himself, the sole administrator, is he really doing well?
Right.
Everything he's doing is outside the law. It's illegal. And now it's almost becoming a Frankenstein. He's going to work at cross purpose with the entire tenet of democracy.
Evans, it's quite interesting. On one hand, you know, the minister is saying that he wished for an outright removal of the governor. On the other hand, he's also said that Governor Fubara has not reached out to him since he was suspended. What gives? What would that have done in this circumstance when he says he wished for his outright removal?
Well, why would Fubara ever reach out to him in the first place? As what? As the president? As the governor of the state, or as what? I mean, Wike is biting more than he can chew. And is having that latitude to do so because there's no serious opposition against this whole illegality. In one breath, he said he would have preferred an outright removal. In another breath, he's saying Fubara has not reached out to him. Reach out to him to become what? To do what exactly? Okay, so until the people of Rivers State decide what they want, this crisis is further deepened because Wike is not ready to back down. It's deepening the crisis further. The people who voted for Fubara, and now a stranger is governing them. And he's not remorseful. He's still boasting. He's still being high-handed. He's still working against Rivers State. So let the people of Rivers State decide the kind of democracy they want. Because as far as I'm concerned, every other state in this country is under democracy except Rivers State. Rivers State is under the government, is under the president law. Anything the president says now is what is going on there. And this illegality cannot go too long before there must be something drastic. Something drastic must happen to terminate it and nip it in the bud. As long as this government has failed to employ democratic means to govern,
right,
they want to use extra democratic means to continue to enslave the people of Rivers State, it will come to an end soon.
He's also made comments about the PDP as well, and saying that the Governors Forum do not have a right when it comes to the secretary or any other elected officials of the party, but most importantly, that they are just a pressure group and don't have any sway or power over the party. And the way he's, I mean, I think one journalist there asked him, why are you taking this stance, giving your own precedents that you set for that, for the governors? What's your take on his comments about the PDP as well, most importantly, the Governors Forum?
We're going to allow the court to decide that, okay? It's not the court, okay? He cannot tell the court or any other authority or person who have rights or who do not have rights whatsoever to do whatever is going on. Because he too does not even have the moral rectitude or moral justification to speak on this issue. Because he started the crisis ab initio. He was the one who fueled it up on this stage that it has become an albatross. He's the one who engineered all the crisis and shenanigans that have boiled down to this level of crisis. So he does not even, he has lost his moral grounds to even comment on the issue, or to talk about who have a right or not under the issue, or how Fubara did not consult him up until now or not, so that he can continue to drag him or what. I think someone should call Wike to order. Someone has to call him to order. He has to stop. This level of brigandage and hooliganism has to stop at some point. The people of Rivers State cannot continue this way. Nigerians at large watching as bystanders cannot continue this way. This is a mockery of democracy. This is a travesty of justice. And the whole issue is, repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. We cannot continue this way if we want to have a politics that will deliver on democracy. There's no way we're going to deploy politics or democracy this way and succeed anywhere in the country. It will not happen.
There's also a dire need for the ruling elites to be much more sincere and, and forthright, or there should be some sense of integrity when it comes to the tenets of democracy. But I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us, Evans Ofeli, legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, giving us a bit of insight following the media chat with the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. Let's move on, shall we? But still in Abuja, as the presidency has confirmed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is governing remotely from Europe and is expected to return to Abuja on Monday, April 21st, after the Easter holidays. In a statement on Thursday, Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said that the president, currently in London after departing Paris, remains fully engaged with governance and in regular contact with key officials. He stressed that Tinubu has also issued directives to security chiefs to address emerging threats across parts of the country. His nearly 2-week absence, the presidency noted, aligns with a previously communicated time frame. The statement assured Nigerians that the administration continues to function effectively and governance remains uninterrupted. It also addresses recent criticism over the president's absence amid rising insecurity in Plateau and Benue states. As part of efforts to tackle food insecurity and drive sustainable agricultural growth, Nigeria's federal government has inaugurated the Agricultural Sector Working Group, a national task force aimed at coordinating strategies for food security and nutrition. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, said the initiative will deepen stakeholder collaboration and ensure accountability across the agricultural value chain. News Central's Joshua Marai reports.
It was the official launch of the Agricultural Sector Working Group, a task force established to strengthen resilience, track progress, and promote stakeholders' coordination in Nigeria's food system. Addressing stakeholders at the event, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, said the group will serve as a mechanism for improving coordination and results in the sector.
The Agricultural Sector Working Group will serve as this critical mechanism, providing a forum for monitoring progress, enhancing accountability, and mobilizing collective action towards the achievement of our shared agricultural goals.
Also speaking, Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, said the task force reflects the government's broader commitment to unlocking the agricultural sector's potential.
We are focused on ensuring that the agricultural sector value chain is fully developed, that it is financed, that access to finance is provided at all levels of agricultural production, the smallholders, as well as the large-scale, even mechanized farmers.
Stakeholders at the event stressed the importance of effective implementation, urging government agencies and partners to use the platform to drive real change for farmers and consumers.
Let us use this opportunity to drive meaningful change and to contribute to a resilient and thriving agricultural sector that can feed our people, sustain our economy, and fulfill our continental obligations.
Before the issue of insecurity that is rampant, one thing that was coming out clear before insecurity is the issue of lack of access to credit. That's why we are happy. And we know that that is going to also be solved.
With the inauguration of the Agricultural Sector Working Group, the federal government is signaling renewed political will to combat food insecurity. But the success of the initiative will depend on translating policies into visible outcomes across farming communities. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Marai.
The Nigeria Governors Forum has called for an end to the many cycles of violence in different parts of the country. The forum spoke in unison as the governors paid a condolence and solidarity visit to their member, the governor of Plateau State, following the spat of killings in some parts of the state. News Central's Chizoba Aniowe has more.
Since the deadly violence that took many lives in Bokos and Bassa local government areas of Plateau State, individuals as well as organizations have been trooping into the state to show their heartfelt condolences. This time around, the governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, led some members of the Nigeria Governors Forum on this mission.
This incident is something that should stop and must stop. The circle of violence must stop. We need to close ranks. draw away our differences, religion, ethnicity, political. It's about nation building.
Abdul Razak calls for support and an end to the incessant violence in recent times.
Let's support the governments. Let's support our governments. Let's support our president. Let's, from the local government to the presidency, all levels of government, let's work together to bring peace. Without peace, we can't have development. You can have a very good budget, you can have the money, but without peace, you can't implement your budget, you can't bring progress to the people.
The governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, linked the violence on the plateau to the porousness of the nation's borders.
The problem of insecurity is not just a plateau problem, it's a national problem, and we've got to address it as a nation. One of the things we've been discussing in our peer review is the porousness of our borders that has allowed all kinds of elements to come into the country unchecked, and they have corrupted those who are on the inside. Today, all our highlands and mountains and forests have all been occupied one way or the other by criminal elements. We need to work together as a nation to reclaim our country.
The host governor called on the federal government once again to secure all the states across the country, stressing the need to collectively stand against insurgency. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyui.
Nigeria is holding out the olive branch to its neighbor and long-term regional ally, the Republic of Niger, nearly 2 years after frosty relations in the wake of a coup in Niger. The Foreign Minister, Yusuf Tongour, was in Niamey on Wednesday, where he was received by Bakari Zagari, his Nigerian counterpart. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, under the chairmanship of President Bola Tinubu, had imposed stringent sanctions on Niger and advocated the restoration of constitutional order while threatening military intervention. A statement from the Nigerian and Nigerian ministers said conversations between both sides was mutual and aimed to mend fences for the restoration of normalized relations. Journalists in Nigeria have acknowledged the challenges faced at work while navigating a complex web of laws and regulations, sometimes impeding their ability to deliver. This was made known at a media dialogue organized by the Center for Journalism Innovation and Development to engage relevant stakeholders on practical ways of navigating legal threats faced by journalists. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more in this report. Take a look.
Conversations around legal threats faced by journalists in Nigeria was brought to the fore again by Center for Journalism Innovation and Development, engaging academia and media practitioners, providing a practical framework for journalists to navigate these legal challenges.
We think that it is important for us to, come together and really first establish the pattern in which these legal threats are manifesting, and then share experiences about how we can build resilience around that threat, but more importantly also to reflect, on what we can do better.
The theme of the media dialogue, navigating legal challenges, laws that criminalize journalists and strategic lawsuits against public participation in the newsroom, focuses on the need for journalists to uphold the ethics of the profession while diligently carrying out their duties.
Oftentimes when we look at Islam, we actually think the journalists, the media practitioners are the target. No, we are not. It is the public that is the target. So we are like the messengers, holding on a message that is actually constitutionally mandated. But then the politicians and the public, they are afraid of that message getting to the public.
A lot of journalists, they became complacent. They didn't try to familiarize themselves with relevant laws and trying to know some of those ethical regulations that binds them within the profession. And the only way you can do that is just to try to
get to know what the law says.
Media practitioners in attendance believe strategic lawsuits against public participation and media repression are avenues for government to silence the media. Hence the need for media organizations to educate employees on laws guiding the profession.
It's also very important to invest a lot in educating and building your own capacity. Now, while it may not be 100% shield against slap suits, it will make it a bit difficult, for these suits to travel as far as they can in the name of disrupting your work. And secondly, it will instill in your people the confidence that, look, we are very good at what we are doing. We know what this thing is, this thing called slap. We know it's not going to go anywhere. So it frees them psychologically to focus on their work.
The aim of legal threats by oppositions is to intimidate journalists and media organizations, according to stakeholders. Hence, finding a balance between these laws and delivering meaningful journalism remain a top priority for all journalists. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
You're watching News Now on News Central Television. Still to come, or better yet, coming up. Nearly 300 individuals have been arrested in Senegal and 15 billion CFA francs recovered in a 7-month investigation targeting economic and financial crimes. We'll tell you all about this just after this break. Join us again. And you're welcome back. A sweeping anti-corruption campaign is shaking Senegal's political and financial landscape. In what authorities describe as an unprecedented crackdown, nearly 300 individuals have been arrested and 15 billion CFA francs recovered in a 7-month investigation targeting Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Led by the Financial Judicial Pool, the probe spans hundreds of cases linked to alleged embezzlement and misuse of public funds. A separate inquiry into the management of COVID-19 response funds revealed further irregularities. 27 people were questioned, 1 remains in custody, while others were released under judicial supervision. Authorities also seized 260 million CFA francs.
Considérez qu'entre hier et aujourd'hui, la division des investigations criminelles a conduit au parquet de Dakar, sur instruction de M. le procureur de la République de Dakar, 27 personnes. La plupart d'entre elles ont proposé de consigner et elles l'ont fait parce que les magistrats instructeurs ont accédé à leur demande. De sorte qu'entre hier et aujourd'hui, nous avons pu recouvrer la somme de 258 448 233 francs CFA. Les enquêtes se poursuivent. Ces 8 rapports sont toujours en cours d'exploitation. Toutes les responsabilités seront suivies.
Military sources have confirmed that 8 soldiers were killed and 13 others wounded in a suspected jihadist attack in northern Benin. The assault, which took place on Thursday, targeted 2 military outposts in W National Park near Koudou Falls, close to the borders of Niger and Burkina Faso. The posts were part of Operation Mirador, Benin's military initiative launched in 2022 to combat extremist threats in the north. The sources also reported that 11 militants were killed during the confrontation. The attack highlights the growing security challenges in the tri-border region. In January, 29 Beninese soldiers were killed in a similar assault claimed by Al-Qaeda-affiliated Group for the support of Islam and Muslims, or GSIM. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, we'll bring you news, and this time outside of the continent. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. And before we go outside of the continent, let's head to South Africa, where Christians there are joining the rest of the world, initiating Easter celebrations by observing Good Friday, a solemn day dedicated to honoring the death of Jesus Christ. In Johannesburg, the Cathedral of Christ the King is leading a procession through the city, providing a reflective opportunity to contemplate the crucifixion and sacrifice of Jesus. This poignant day marks the beginning of Easter festivities, reminding believers of the profound significance of Jesus' sacrifice and the hope it brings for salvation. News Central's Bongani's Ziba is at the Cathedral of Christ Church, and we cross over to her for more.
The streets of Hillbrow today are filled with Christians, and behind me are members of the Cathedral Christ the King. They are honoring the most significant day in the Christian calendar, Good Friday, and a day that marks the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, a moment of profound sorrow and ultimate sacrifice.
Not before a child is born, there is pain that comes there, but then there is joy which is after there. We see Jesus pouring out the blood in a painful way for the birth of Christianity, which is when he rises again. So without the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, we wouldn't be celebrating any Easters, we wouldn't be celebrating any Christianity. So this period is actually the climax of all the seasons in Christian worship.
The procession began with a moving dramatization to reenact the final hours of Jesus Christ, depicting the betrayal by Judas Iscariot, one of his closest disciples. Those watching on the streets were filled with emotions as they were taken back to the time of Jesus Christ. As the procession continued, the crowd witnessed Jesus Christ's drama played by a man depicting Jesus struggling under the weight of the cross.
Without the dying of our Lord and the resurrection, there will be no Christianity, because it's through his resurrection that Christianity came up.
For every Christian, this reflects on the meaning of sacrifice, love, and redemption. For every person here today, Easter is not just a holiday. It represents the hope and promise that emerged from despair.
It's like a day that we all Christians must remember that Jesus died for our sins, and that every Easter we must come to church and worship the death of Jesus Christ.
Good Friday serves as a reminder of incredible love and sacrifice made by Jesus, a gift that resonates deeply within the hearts of believers. As the faithful reflect on this solemn day, they carry the promise and the resurrection of Jesus, message of Jesus that rings true as they look towards the Easter Sunday and the joy that flows. In Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani Siziba.
A wave of violence has struck southwestern Colombia, where twin bombings have left communities reeling and authorities on high alert. In La Plata, located in Huila department, a motorcycle bomb detonated near a police station, killing 2 people and injuring at least 24. Flames and debris were seen engulfing the area shortly after the blast. Colombian officials are blaming dissenting factions of the former FARC rebel group, which withdrew from a 2016 peace accord. The La Plata bombing came just hours after another deadly explosion targeted a police station in Santada de Qualicha in the neighboring Cuca department. A fragile pause in Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure has officially ended, according to the Kremlin, as hopes for a broader ceasefire continue to fade. The Kremlin confirmed Friday that a 30-day moratorium on strikes against Ukraine's energy infrastructure has lapsed, with no new orders issued by President Vladimir Putin. The limited truce brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump last month was marred by repeated violations from both sides. Nigeria has cut electricity subsidies by 35% following a 2023 tariff hike for high-usage customers, easing pressure on public finances. Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu said the move generated an extra 700 billion naira, reducing the government's subsidy shortfall from 3 trillion naira to 1.9 trillion naira. Despite progress, the sector still struggles with grid failures gas shortages, and 4 trillion naira in debt owed to power generators. Nigeria has a third of its 13,000 megawatt installed capacity regularly produced, while reliance on expensive generators remains high. Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso battle for bronze at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco at the Casablanca Larbi Zoli Stadium. This marks the first ever meeting between these nations at a Under-17 AFCON tournament. Both teams are appearing in their third bronze medal march in tournament history. Burkina Faso enters after a 2-0 semi-final loss to Mali, ending their 5-game winning streak. Nigeria's Under-17 women's team, the Flamingos, aim for a high-margin win against Algeria in Saturday's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup final qualifying round first leg in Ikenne. Coach Bankole Olowokere emphasized the need for a convincing result for ease pressure ahead of the return leg in Blada on April 25th. The Flamingos are riding high after defeating South Africa home and away in the previous round. Key players Harmony Chidi, Shakirat Moshood, and Aishat Animashaun are expected to lead the charge. Saturday's clash takes place at Remo Star Stadium, where Nigeria previously beat South Africa 2-0. And that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has said he wanted suspended Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara removed outright. Slams PDP governors as party crisis deepens. The police have tightened security at churches as Nigerian Christians join counterparts worldwide to mark Good Friday. And we also told you that nearly 300 persons have been arrested in Senegal and $26 million recovered in a 7-month investigation targeting economic and financial crimes. Now, do remember they can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 4221. Go TV now. Find us on channel 23. We're also on Star Times, channel 274. We're also on Avo TV. Or better yet, you can stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith, the TV. Bye for now.